In the USA, almost 3/4 of adults are considered overweight or obese, and even about 40% are already severely obese, meaning they are more than just overweight. The trend for this is continuously rising. Similar alarming figures are observed in many other countries. In this video, I will therefore delve into the topic of obesity, explain the term obesity, what BMI stands for, describe the causes of obesity, and most importantly, what can be done about it. Hi, this is Timo from vfsdiet.com. With my YouTube channel, I aim to provide clear, accurate, and scientifically backed information about weight loss, nutrition, and a healthy lifestyle. If you don't want to miss anything, click the subscribe button and turn on notifications. Obesity is defined as an excessive accumulation of body fat beyond the normal amount. This means having much more body fat than you actually need. Obesity is defined by a BMI over 30. As I already mentioned, 40% of Americans are already obese, and the trend is constantly increasing. Why is this the case? Because we naturally have a large availability of food and we move less and less due to technology like cars. But what does BMI actually mean? The so-called body mass index, which is what BMI stands for, is calculated by dividing a person's weight in kilograms by the square of their height in meters. The resulting value allows you to categorize yourself. A BMI under 25 means you are of normal weight. From 25 to 30, you are considered overweight, and above 30, you are said to be obese. Of course, the BMI value must also be viewed critically, as it is ultimately only a guideline. It doesn't consider certain aspects such as gender, or for athletes who have a lot of muscle mass and less body fat contributing to their weight. It also doesn't account for body shape or where body fat is distributed, especially since abdominal fat is a particularly unhealthy type of fat. Nevertheless, BMI provides a good orientation, and by definition, a BMI over 30 indicates obesity. How does one become obese? This is a constantly debated question. You often hear that it's genetically determined or related to a slow metabolism. Yes, these can certainly be reasons. They all play a role, but ultimately, one crucial factor always remains: a constantly positive energy balance, meaning you consume too much energy compared to what you need. The causes for this excess energy can vary. In most cases, you can influence this yourself. In some cases, for example, if it's genetically determined, you may not be able to influence it that much. But these are exceptions, and exceptions are not the rule. So, ultimately, it's about an elevated energy balance. This means you have more energy than you need, and this excess energy is stored in the form of body fat. Here it's even less about what food you consume, whether this excess energy comes from proteins, fats, or carbohydrates. Ultimately, it doesn't matter, you have an excess of energy, and this excess energy is then stored as body fat, which leads to overweight and obesity. In the context of obesity, the role of the hormone leptin is interesting to understand. Leptin is a hormone that helps regulate our hunger and eating behavior. If you have consumed a lot of food and have a positive energy balance, leptin is released and sends feedback to the brain that there's plenty of energy available, thereby reducing the feeling of hunger or inducing a feeling of satiety. Thus, the brain signals that we don't need to eat anymore. In people with obesity, this leptin function may no longer work correctly. This is because they have consistently overeaten. As a result, they essentially had consistently high leptin levels in their blood. The feedback to the brain indicated that there was enough energy, but they continued to eat anyway. Now, this feedback mechanism may have changed over time, and the receptors in the brain no longer respond to leptin, because nothing happened before anyway, as they continued to eat. This is often one reason why obese people sometimes say they are no longer feel full. Next, it's also important to understand the terms basal metabolic rate and performance metabolic rate. The basal metabolic rate is defined as the necessary energy expenditure required to maintain the body's own functions. So, this is the energy you would need if you lay in bed all day and did nothing. This basal metabolic rate varies from person to person. It depends on gender, age, height, body mass, and so on. The basal metabolic rate ranges from about 1,400 up to 3,000 calories per day. The performance metabolic rate describes the energy needed for additional activities, meaning for the activity you perform. This includes the work you do, sports, but also simple daily activities like walking, climbing stairs, cycling, cooking, housework, and so on. Taking all of this into account, what can we do about obesity? Here it's crucial to note that if you are obese, seeking advice from your doctor before starting any weight loss journey is always recommended. Conditions such as the mentioned leptin resistance are best addressed with a healthcare professional. This video offers general information and should not be taken as medical advice. For most healthy individuals, weight loss fundamentally boils down to adjusting the energy balance. As mentioned, if you're overweight or obese, you most likely have a positive energy balance. This means you have much more energy than you need, as I just described. Now, the task is to rebalance this energy balance and create a negative one. This can be achieved by adjusting the levels of energy intake, meaning your diet, or energy expenditure, your performance metabolic rate. But the very first and probably most crucial step is to take the decision to make the change and have the will to rebalance this energy balance. Because without your own will, it won't work. It's also important to understand that healthy and sustainable weight loss is a marathon, not a sprint. If you want to adjust the level of energy intake, meaning your diet, it's important not to try to do too much too soon, because then it would be a sprint. A sprint would involve unhealthy crash diets that don't achieve anything in the long run. On the contrary, in most cases, the yo-yo effect occurs and you end up weighing more than before. It's important to create a moderate calorie deficit of 300 to 500 calories daily. Only then will long-term and healthy weight loss work. If you want to adjust the level of energy expenditure, meaning increasing your performance metabolic rate, here as well, be cautious of overdoing it. Fundamentally, it must be emphasized that the decision to exercise is a good and important one, as it not only increases energy expenditure, but also benefits muscle building and cardiovascular health. However, if you are obese, you should start slowly. Exercise for obesity should be joint-friendly to improve fitness. Suitable sports include swimming, cycling, walking, and gymnastics that are enjoyable and promote endurance. A slow start that encourages muscle building and habit formation is crucial. To conclude, obesity is a growing global problem, primarily resulting from a positive energy balance where more calories are consumed than expended. Causes often include high food availability and lack of physical activity. To counteract obesity, it is crucial to sustainably create a negative energy balance. Ideally, this can be achieved through a moderate and sustained calorie deficit, brought about by conscious nutrition and increased physical activity. Thank you for joining me today. If you found this video helpful, you definitely want to uncover the truth about skipping dinner for weight loss. Check out my video, Eating After 6 p.m. Does Dinner Really Make You Gain Weight? You can click the link on the screen or find it in the description below. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more content. Thank you for your support and I'll see you in the next video.